What's new in days 7 and 8 of breaking news, aka Crime Fest 2018? At last we've hit the end of the line, but yesterday was a somber build-up with Overkill showcasing their skills at operation on a live stream, which is adorable and linked below. But that's obviously not why you're here. You're here for the White House heist. After all this time, all these years, 1600 pen is where we're making our next big score. Okay, I've said this plenty before now, and I've meant it every time, but I need to make this painfully clear. Massive spoilers for Payday 2's plot. Seriously, if you're even vaguely interested in seeing events unfold firsthand, pause the video and go play it for yourself. Okay, for those of you still with me, here goes. Bane's condition is critical. He's not gonna last much longer with the virus from No Mercy pumping through his veins. His last act as our leader, as the founder of the Payday crew, is to have us break into the White House, which is currently under security lockdown by murky water as the cabinet and staff have been evacuated on Air Force One, which, if you haven't kept up with the ARG on the website, has crashed in California. Regardless, in lighter news, this capital caper can be tackled in stealth, loud, or a mix of both, so the crew is prepared accordingly. Donning murky water disguises, Locke flies over the front lawn of the Patriotic Palace, boasting the largest group of mercs to ever witness a helicopter landing, period. If you intend to keep a lid on things, you'll have to remain cautious despite your day-late costume party. Draw too close to the murky water patrolling the premises and they'll realize you're imposters, thus raising the alarm. Carefully make your way inside the grandiose halls of the White House, where your first task will be locating the West Wing. I'll give you one guess which direction it's in. Guards and cameras will pay little mind to you inside the building, seeing as there is nothing suspicious about armed mercs doing their rounds. However, once faced with the locked doors to the West Wing, you'll be forced to mask up to proceed, turning the interior into a fairly standard stealth venture. Guards, cameras, pagers, and the like. To progress, you have to yank the panel off the door's security system, where there are a handful of colored lights, corresponding to security boxes strewn about the premises. And right off the bat, we're faced with one of the most obnoxious portions of this heist, regardless of if you're tiptoeing or flat-footed. The 4 security boxes are colored white and are hidden amongst furniture against the white walls of this White House, meaning if you don't already know the list of possible spawn locations, it can take several minutes just to find the damn boxes, despite the actual play area you're provided being relatively tiny. There are some particularly cheeky spawns too, tucked behind doors or often otherwise pointless corners of the map. You may be at this for a while until you can find the 2 boxes with wires matching the colors of the lights you saw earlier. Snip these 2 and just these 2 cords to disable the security on the door, allowing you to casually stroll into the West Wing, walking past familiar sights to those of us in the US. Of course, what would a tour to the White House be without a trip of the Oval Office, guarded by a handful of cameras and pager-bound officers? If you're willing, a security room is present somewhere in the wing, allowing cameras to be disposed of at the cost of a single pager. Slip past security into the famed office, where you'll be tasked with locating a safe likely hidden behind one of the framed paintings. Inside of the highly secure Franz Jaeger 2 Battle Royale safe is a keycard, which we'll need to reach the depths of the White House where our true prize is residing. So assuming you wish to keep things quiet, you'll be needing a passcode. Due to the recent chaos in the White House, Locke correctly presumes the staff has been sloppy as of late, so a quick once-over of the laptop sprinkled throughout the halls will eventually net you an email describing how the code for the safe is kept on a pen drive and where said storage is hidden. This may be in a fireplace, shelf, potted plant, anything of the sort. Once you've used the clues to find the drive, plug it into any of the laptops to reveal the 4-digit code. This unlocks the safe, granting you the keycard inside. Cradle the keycard cautiously as you evacuate the West Wing, doubling back over to the downstairs library. Locke has gathered there's a secret entrance hidden somewhere inside the room, which, given that it's a library, means tugging on every single book on the shelf until a button presents itself, revealing a full-on Scooby-Doo style secret passage. Swoosh on into the airlock, every heister present of course, to progress to the Presidential Emergency Operations Center, or PEOC for short. This is where our loot is being stashed and what we needed a keycard for in the first place. Once you're inside, locate the vault, which is a bit too massive to simply be drilled open. Instead, Locke will task you with infecting the system's mainframe with malware or whatever hack the planet nonsense will get the door unlocked. All the while, you're being hounded by security, phone calls, and blue screens of death, meaning you'll have to stay on the move, even while simply waiting for the progress bar to complete, at which point the vault opens up and the loot we were sent here to secure all along waits proudly. A set of pre-signed presidential pardons, which will totally and completely erase any legal ramifications of the Payday crew's repertoire. In fact, there's just enough for each and every member, Locke and Bane included. This is what Bane wanted to do for for us all along. He wanted to unshackle all of us from our pasts so we could move on from this underground world of crime to lead a free life. Now, in reality, this is total bullshit. Pardons do not work this way, could easily be voided due to the nature of their acquisition, and we've committed crimes in other countries regardless. But still, allowing my suspension of disbelief to keep me afloat for just a second, this is a score worth more than any dollar amount could attain. Total absolution from any consequence of our past. The chance to get out of the game. With papers in tow, slip out of the POC back into the White House's entrance. Quickly demask and meet up with Locke before air support flies in to make escape by chopper a non-option. And that's stealth, but before we address the elephant in the cell, let's discuss how Loud plays out. Because honestly, it's pretty much the same. You enter the White House and locate security boxes to access the West Wing. However, instead of simply snipping the wires, you'll need hacking devices to shut down the security protocols. All the while being hounded by Murky Water SWAT. Murky Swatter? No, not that. Point being, once both boxes are thoroughly hacked, proceed on down to the West Wing, only to find the Oval Office completely under lockdown, shutters and all. Thankfully, in one of the 3 side rooms not containing the cameraman, there's a supply cache filled with thermite. God knows why. Either way, it's perfect for melting through the gates as the mercs chase you through the windows and open doors of the West Wing. Wait, if all the doors are open, why didn't we just come in that way? Once inside the Oval Office, you'll need to drill through the hidden safe rather than use a code. Seeing as the safe is more heavily reinforced, a more power-hungry drill is required to crack it. While you may have to run off wall power to keep this puppy fed, it won't jam on its own right unless the mercs cut the power at one of the breakers. So you'll have to defend the drill and power boxes as tear gas drops down and heat closes in on you from outside the Oval Office. This is a small issue I have with this heist, as despite all the open doors and seemingly walkable area, invisible walls prevent you from making any headway beyond the interior of the mansion. That is, up until the drill completes its work and the keycard is secured, as in an act of desperation, Murky Water drove a car right through the wall to block access to the library, meaning you now have to get a breath of fresh air to take a detour through the garden and into the front entrance to proceed, all the while being pelted by a turret. From here, things carry on mostly as normal. Trash the library, find the secret switch, enter the POC, and hack the mainframe. The only major differences are the amount of bullets being dispensed in every direction, not to mention the familiar trio of turrets, tear gas, and circuit breakers to worry about. Thankfully, the stairwell used for traversing floors in the POC makes for great cover from most angles, albeit further from the computer you're defending than would be ideal. So you have to strike a balance between keeping yourself and the objective safe. Maintain the hack until the vault's lock releases, grab the documents, and make your way back to the front lawn. The key difference in Loud being anti-air defenses have been installed to halt your escape. But this is nothing a simple hack can't fix. At this point, the floodgates are very firmly released, and Murky Water is pouring down to greet you. Finish up your business as quick as you can and make moves to Locke's escape. And now, with pardons in hand, free from this and every job's consequences, Bane, well...
You did it, guys. You pulled it off. The damn White House. Proud of you. Damn proud. Now you're free. Free to... Oh. Is this... Oh my...
At this point, a video clip becomes available for you to watch on the main menu, dubbed The End. If you'd rather me not spoil the clip for you, well, this is your last chance to go and watch it. The clip is a live-action piece starring the entire crew in, if not literally, symbolically, Bane's funeral. Each member tosses their masks into the hole and walks off free of their past and their friend. Dallas alone remains, but before you can see if he decides to give up this life for good, the end. That's, by all appearances, the finale of Payday 2. The story ends here. Bane succumbs to the virus, the crew retires, and the dentist and Kataru continue their operations. Doesn't that seem wrong? Doesn't that feel unfinished, unsatisfying? In fact, it has all the makings of a bad ending. And I don't mean a poorly made one. The video is absolutely beautifully crafted. I mean the failure case. The wrong conclusion. The we fucked up ending. But if a game has a bad ending, that would also imply it to, well, maybe have a good ending. Maybe, just maybe, the Payday secret will lead to something deeper, more closure than what we've received. After all, once you complete the heist, the contents of the boxes inside the safe house will come together to form a more complete structure, confusing structure. I've got no idea what to make of this, and I'm no expert on the lore. You'll have to give Kenny a visit. If anyone can piece this together, given enough time, it's him. Beyond this were bug fixes to No Mercy and story mode being updated with all the new heists, and that's it. That's the end of the event, of Bane, of Payday 2, maybe. I can't say for sure. There's fragments, just fragments of a bigger picture here. Secret achievements, voice lines from Duke, ciphers and clues strewn throughout the White House. I find it impossible to think Payday's story has concluded. Whether that means we'll see this through to the end here, soon, or if it will carry on into Payday 3, only time will tell. But wherever this ride may take you, my stop is up ahead. Not to get depressing on you, but I've reached my limit. Well over 3,000 hours and hundreds of videos on this game have made me grow weary. I've played all I've wanted to, said all I've had to say. I'm content with my time as a Payday 2 content creator. I want to move on to do any game I want to, anything that I want to. Starting in 2019, I will not be making any more videos on Payday 2. And seeing how all signs point to CrimeFest being the last event of the year, that also makes it the last event I'll be covering. I'm at least glad it's been an absolutely stunning one, and I mean beyond just the scope of the plot. With 3 heists and 4 weapons worth of content, Breaking News will go down as a pillar of Payday 2's final years, for both gameplay and story. Although crashes and glitches do plague the new content as per usual, and problems like these are one of the many reasons I'm deciding to move on with my career. I'll make a full video discussing this at some point perhaps. If there's any further major updates to the game, I'll still cover them up until the year's end, and I even plan on piecing together a full review of Payday 2 before December concludes. Plus, I'm sure I'll stream the game at least a few more times over on Twitch, especially if answers present themselves to the questions I've garnered concerning this supposed finale. It would mean the world to me if you gave my Twitch streams a chance, not just for Payday, but for the wide variety of games I play over there. Maybe consider it if you're feeling generous. But for now, and until the year's end, this has been Connor Shaw. Thank you all so very much for watching. Please have a good day, and take it easy.